Kira moved through the dense purple forest, her footsteps silent on the soft ground, her violet eyes scanning for any sign of movement. The twin moons of Nexus Prime cast an eerie blue glow through the trees, making shadows dance all around her. She was the best hunter of the Nexus people, and tonight she hunted something new, something that had never been seen on their world before. 3 days ago, a strange object fell from the sky, leaving a trail of fire across the purple sky. The entire city watched as it crashed deep in the forbidden forest. The High Council immediately called for Kira. She still remembered the grave looks on their ancient faces as they gave her the mission: find the alien being, capture it, bring it back alive for study. Kira adjusted the stun rod on her belt and checked her tracker. The small device showed faint heat signals about half a mile ahead. She moved forward, her long silver hair tied back her tall, slender body blending with the shadows. Her skin with its light blue tint helped her hide in the darkness of the forest night. She had been tracking the alien for 2 days now, watching, learning, studying. It seemed to be alone. It had survived the crash, but its vessel was damaged beyond repair. It had set up a small camp near a stream and seemed to be trying to fix a communication device. Kira was impressed by its survival skills. Most beings would have died in the harsh conditions of the forbidden forestas. She got closer to the stream. She slowed her movements, becoming even more careful. The alien had good hearing, better than she expected. Several times she had almost been spotted. She crouched behind a large bush and peered through the leaves. There it was, sitting by a small fire, looking at a device in its hands. The firelight showed its features. It looked strangely similar to her own people, but different too. Its skin was a different color. Its ears were rounded, not pointed like hers. Its eyes were a strange color, and it had no markings on its face. Kira watched as the alien ate some food from its supplies. She had been taught that different species needed different food. Many could not eat the plants of Nexus Prime. They were too toxic, yet this being seemed to test each plant carefully. Before trying small bits of some, she decided it was time to make her move while the alien was distracted with its meal. She circled around, staying downwind. She knew some species had better smell than her people. She moved into position behind a tree only 20 feet from the alien being. She readied her stun rod, feeling its energy hum through her 6-fingered hand. Kira took a deep breath and stepped out, weapon raised. "Freeze," she said in the common galactic language used by most spacefaring races. The alien jumped up faster than she expected, spinning to face her. Its reaction time was impressive. It held no weapon but took a defensive stance. Its eyes locked with hers. Kira kept her weapon pointed at it. "Who are you, and why are you on Nexus Prime?" she demanded. The alien slowly raised its hands in what she recognized as a peaceful gesture, a common signal among many species. "My name is Alex." She could tell from its voice it was male. "My ship malfunctioned and crashed. I meant no harm to your world. I was trying to signal for rescue." Kira moved closer, keeping her weapon ready. "What species are you?" she asked, studying his features carefully. "Inhuman from the planet Earth," Alex replied. Kira felt a strange chill run through her body. Human. The word echoed in her mind like an ancient song. Humans were creatures of legend, beings from stories told to younglings. Tales passed down through countless generations. "Impossible," she said, lowering her weapon slightly. "Humans are myths. They are not real." Alex smiled slightly. "I assure you we are very real, just far from home at the moment." Kira circled him, keeping distance between them. In the old stories, humans were known for their unpredictability, their strange mix of weakness and strength, their ability to survive conditions that would kill other species. Their minds worked in ways no other species could understand. "If you are human, then you will come with me to the High Council," she said, gesturing with her weapon. Alex nodded, showing no fear, which surprised her most. Beings captured on alien worlds showed terror. The story said humans feared differently, not the immediate danger, but the larger picture. As they walked through the forest toward her hidden transport vessel, Kira kept watching him. His movements were fluid, adaptable. When branches blocked the path, he found new ways around obstacles. When the ground became muddy, he adjusted his walking style. "Your people know about humans?" Alex asked. "Breaking the silence we have." Stories, Kira admitted old legends about beings who could adapt to any challenge, overcome any obstacle. Most consider them just tales to teach younglings about persistence, yet you seem to recognize what I am. Kira did not answer, continuing to guide him through the dense vegetation. The stories also said humans were dangerous not because of physical strength, but because they changed everything. They touched sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. They reached the clearing where Kira had hidden her transport, a sleek silver craft designed to move silently through the sky. Get in, she ordered. Alex entered, looking around with obvious interest at the technology inside. Kira secured him to a seat before taking the controls. The vessel rose silently into the night sky, heading toward the capital city. During the flight, Alex asked questions about her world, about her people. Kira found herself answering, despite her training telling her to remain silent. Something about this human made her usual. Caution, fate, is your entire planet this beautiful? He asked as they flew over vast forests and crystal lakes. Kira felt an unfamiliar pride at his words. Nexus Prime has been home to my people for 10,000 years. We protect its beauty. The capital city came into view, a sprawling metropolis of tall crystal towers and spiraling architecture that glowed with internal light. Alex gasped at the sight. Magnificent, he said, his voice filled with genuine wonder. Kira landed the vessel at the base of the High Council tower. Guards immediately surrounded them. Weapons drawn, Alex was escorted inside, Kira following close behind. Feeling strangely protective of her captive, the hallways of the tower were lined with ancient art depicting the history of her people. Alex looked at each piece they passed with interest, not showing fear. Despite being surrounded by armed guards, they reached the great doors of the High Council chamber. The guards stopped, forming a line. Kira stepped forward. The High Council awaits, she said to Alex. Remember, they are the oldest and wisest of my people. Show respect. Alex nodded and straightened his posture. Am familiar with meeting new cultures, he said. Don't worry. The great doors slid open, revealing the vast circular chamber beyond. 7 tall chairs arranged in a semicircle sat atop a raised platform. 7 elderly Nexus with long white hair and faces marked with the symbols of wisdom looked down at them with expressions of curiosity and caution. Kira bowed. Deeply, High Council, I have captured the intruder as ordered. Alara, the center council member, leaned forward, her ancient eyes studying Alex. What species is this being? Before Kira could speak, Alex stepped forward. I am human from the planet Earth. My name is Alex Mason. I mean your people no harm. My ship malfunctioned, forcing me to crash land. I request assistance in contacting my people. The chamber filled with whispers. The word human passed between council members with tones of disbelief and wonder. Alara raised her hand, silencing the chamber. Humans are creatures of legend, beings from ancient stories, she said, her voice carrying across the room. Yet here I stand, Alex replied calmly. Kira watched the council members exchange glances, some with fear, others with excitement. The legends of humans had survived for generations among her people. Stories of beings with strange abilities and unpredictable natures. If you are truly human, Alara said, then we have much to learn from each other. The ancient texts speak of human adaptability, creativity, and perseverance. These qualities made them both valued allies and feared enemies. Alex looked confused. I am just a space explorer. I have no special abilities. The human does not know his own worth, another council member said, typical of their kind according to the legends. They never recognize what makes them unique. Kira stepped forward. High Council, I request permission to study the human to learn if the legends are true. She found herself speaking before thinking, surprising even herself. Alara considered this request, her ancient eyes studying Kira. Then Alex, granted, but he will remain in custody. His ship will be examined if he is truly human. Then our meeting may be fortunate. Our world faces challenges that perhaps only human creativity can solve. Alex was led away to secure quarters. Not a prison cell, but comfortable rooms with guards at the door. Kira was assigned as his primary guardian and researcher. She found herself eager to begin their work together. Her mission had changed from captor to student. The next morning, Kira arrived at Alex's quarters. With food and clothing suitable for his needs, the guards nodded to her as she entered. Alex stood by the window looking out at the crystal city in the morning light. "I brought you sustenance," Kira said, placing the tray on a table our scientists analyzed. "The food from your ship we created similar nutrients that should be safe for you." Alex turned from the window. "Thank you," he said with a smile. That strange expression humans use to show positive emotions. He sat down and tried the food, nodding in approval. "This is good, different but good." Kira sat across from him, taking out a small device to record their conversation. "The High Council wishes to learn about humans," she explained. "Are the legends true?" "What legends?" Alex asked between bites. "Your adaptability, your problem-solving, your strange way of thinking," Kira replied. "The stories say humans can find solutions where other species see none, that your minds work differently." Alex shrugged. "We're just people trying to survive like anyone else. But I'm curious about these legends your people have. What do they say about humans?" Kira activated a holographic display from her device. Images appeared in the air between them. Ancient drawings of beings that looked similar to Alex. "The legends say humans came from a harsh world, one that tried to kill them daily to survive. They developed unique thinking patterns. They could imagine what had never existed before, and then created sounds like typical evolutionary advantages." Alex said nothing special. "But the legends continue," Kira said, changing the image to show more drawings. "Humans could adapt to almost any environment. Any challenge they faced, they would overcome, not through strength but through creativity. When other species would surrender, humans would find another way." Even when logic said no way existed, Alex listened with growing interest as Kira shared more legends about humans. How they formed bonds with other species, how they sometimes sacrificed themselves for others, how they could turn enemies into allies through understanding. "These are just stories," Alex said finally. "Myths that grew over time." "Perhaps," Kira replied, "or perhaps there is truth in them. The High Council believes we can learn from each other. They have arranged tests." Alex looked concerned. "Challenges," Kira explained, "nothing dangerous but situations that might reveal. If the legends have truth, the Council is curious." Over the next days, Kira observed Alex as he faced the Council's challenges, problems that her people's best minds struggled with. In the first challenge, Alex was presented with a puzzle box, a device that contained important information but could not be opened by force. Kira's people had been trying to open it for months. Without success, their best scientists had failed. Yet Alex studied it for just one day, turning it over in his hands, asking questions about its origin, trying different approaches. When he finally found the solution, a combination of sound, vibration, and temperature changes, Kira was amazed he had approached the problem differently than any of her people would have. "It's about understanding the creator of the puzzle," Alex explained as they recorded his success. "Every puzzle reflects how its maker thinks. I just tried to understand who made it and why." The next challenge involved a complex simulation of resource distribution on an imaginary planet with multiple competing species. The simulation had run thousands of times with no peaceful solution, always ending in conflict. Alex spent 3 days learning the parameters of the simulation, understanding each species' needs and limitations. When he finally presented his solution, a complex trading system that benefited all parties equally. Kira was stunned. High Council members watched the simulation run with Alex's parameters for the first time. It reached a stable, peaceful outcome. "Remarkable," Alara said as they reviewed the results. "The human found balance where we saw only conflict. It's about finding shared interests." Alex explained, "Every group has something others need. The key is creating a system where cooperation becomes more beneficial than competition as days turn to weeks." Kira documented everything she learned about Alex, his problem solving, his adaptability, his strange humor. She began to understand why the ancient legends spoke of humans with such respect. They did think differently. They did find solutions where others saw none. Alex adapted quickly to life on Nexus Prime, learning their language, customs, food. He showed interest in everything, asking questions that sometimes had never been asked before. When taken to see the Great Library, he spent days reading about Nexus history, art, science. One evening, as they walked through the crystal gardens of the city center, Kira finally asked the question that had been growing in her mind: "Are all humans like you?" Alex laughed softly. "No, we're all very different. Some humans would have approached every challenge differently than I did. That's part of our strength, our diversity of thinking. That night, a message came from the High Council. An emergency situation had developed at a remote settlement. Raiders from a neighboring system had attacked, stealing resources and threatening. The villagers, the council's security forces were responding. But the situation was complex. The council requests your presence, Kira told Alex as they hurried to the council tower. When they arrived, the council was viewing holographic images of the settlement and the raider ships. Ilara looked grave. Our forces are outnumbered. The raiders have superior weapons and have threatened to harm the villagers if we attack directly. We need time to bring more forces, but that will take days. Kira watched as Alex studied the holographic display, asking questions about the raiders. Their ships, their patterns of behavior, their weaknesses, the terrain around the settlement, the weather conditions expected. I might have an idea, he said, finally looking up from the display. The council listened as Alex outlined a plan using the weather systems approaching the area and the terrain to create natural barriers, forcing the raiders to move in specific directions where smaller forces could engage them without endangering the villagers. It's unconventional, Ilara said, but it might work. Kira was assigned to the team implementing Alex's strategy. He insisted on joining them, despite the council's concern for his safety. I can't ask others to risk themselves based on my plan if I won't do the same, he said when Kira questioned him. They traveled to the settlement region with a small force. The raiders' ships were visible in the valley below. Alex directed their preparations as storm clouds gathered overhead. His plan relied on precise timing, using the coming storm to limit the raiders' sensors and visibility. When the storm broke with tremendous force, lightning striking the valley floor, Alex gave the signal. The Nexus forces moved into position, not attacking directly, but triggering landslides, blocking escape routes, using the environment itself as a weapon, confused and cut off from retreat. The raiders found themselves facing what seemed like a much larger force when they tried to threaten villagers. They discovered the villagers had been quietly evacuated during the storm. Within hours, the raiders surrendered without a single Nexus casualty as they returned to the capital. Alex was quiet. Kira noticed his expression seemed troubled. You saved the settlement, she said. Why do you not seem pleased? Because there should have been a way to prevent the attack in the first place. He replied, a better early warning system. Better defenses. These raiders will return somewhere else unless the root causes are addressed. Kira realized he was already thinking beyond the immediate victory, looking for long-term solutions. It was exactly as the legends described. Humans never stopped at solving the problem in front of them. They looked for the patterns, the systems behind the problems. When they reported to the High Council, Alex presented not only the details of their victory, but also a comprehensive plan for improving security across all remote settlements. The Council was impressed by both his tactical success and his broader thinking. Ilara exchanged glances with the other council members before speaking. The legends appear to be true, she said. Humans do think differently. We have much to learn from you, Alex Mason. That night, as Kira escorted Alex back to his quarters, she noticed he was studying a star chart of the region. Looking for your home, she asked. Trying to figure out where Earth is from here? He replied. It's strange to be so far from home yet find people who have stories about humans. Kira hesitated before asking the question that had been growing in her mind since they returned from the settlement mission. The stories say humans form strong bonds with others, even those not of their kind. Do you miss your people? Alex looked up from the star chart. Yes, but I'm also fascinated by your world, your people. There's so much to learn here, so much we could share with each other. Kira felt something shift inside her, something she had not expected when she first captured this alien in the forest. She had seen him as a curiosity, a mission. Now she saw him as Alex, as a person worthy of respect, perhaps even friendship. The days following the arrival of the Earthship were filled with diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, scientific discussions, and security arrangements. Kira found herself in a new role, not just Alex's guardian, but a liaison between the Nexus, High Council, and the Earth delegation. Captain Wright and her crew were given tours of the capital city, shown the achievements of Nexus society, the advanced technologies, the art, the architecture. In return, they shared information about Earth, its diverse cultures, its history, its own technologies. Alex moved between both groups, equally comfortable with his own people and with the Nexus. He seemed tireless, attending every meeting, explaining concepts that one side did not understand about the other, smoothing misunderstandings before they could grow into problems. Kira watched him with growing admiration, noting how he switched between roles: diplomat, scientist, teacher, cultural interpreter. He was doing exactly what the legends said. Humans did building bridges between different worlds. One evening, after a particularly long diplomatic session, Kira found Alex alone in the garden courtyard of the guest quarters where the Earth delegation was staying. "You should rest," she said, seeing the fatigue in his face. "Too much to do," he replied. "Too many opportunities for misunderstanding. You cannot personally prevent every problem." Alex smiled, that expression she had come to know so well. "No, but I can try. The first contact between worlds is too important to leave to chance." Kira sat beside him on the stone bench. "Our legends never mentioned how stubborn humans can be." He laughed softly. "They missed a key trait." Then they sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Kira spoke again. "Have you decided about staying as ambassador or returning with your ship?" Alex looked up at the night sky, where both the Earth ship and the stars beyond were visible. "It's complicated," he said. "My duty to Earth. My mission was exploration and return. But what we've found here is more valuable than anything I could have imagined. The potential for exchange of knowledge, culture, ideas. It's unprecedented. And your personal wishes?" Kira asked carefully. "That's even more complicated," he admitted, looking at her directly. Before he could continue, they were interrupted by the arrival of Captain Wright. "Sorry to disturb you," she said, nodding to Kira. "But we have news from Earth." "Command, important news?" Alex asked. Standing, "They approve your request for ambassadorial status. You'll stay here as Earth's first official representative to Nexus Prime. When we depart, a proper diplomatic team will arrive within 6 months to establish a permanent embassy." Alex looked surprised. "I expected more debate. Your reports were convincing," Wright said with a smile. "Plus the High Council's agreement to share certain technologies was persuasive." Kira, "I hope you'll continue to help Commander Mason adjust to his new role." Kira nodded. "Of course, Captain. It would be my honor." After Wright departed, Alex turned to Kira with an expression she couldn't quite read. "I should have told you first," he said. "I wanted to, but waited for official approval. You will stay then as ambassador?" "Yes, if the High Council still agrees." "They will," Kira said, certain of this. "The Council values your perspective. They see the potential in formal relations with Earth." "What about you?" Alex asked. "What do you value in this arrangement?" Kira felt suddenly exposed, as if he could see through her carefully maintained professional demeanor. The scientific observer in her had long since given way to something else, something she was still trying to understand. "I value the exchange of knowledge," she said finally, "the opportunity to continue learning about humans." "Is that all?" Kira looked away, then back, meeting his eyes. "No," she admitted, "that's not all." The next morning, a formal ceremony was held in the High Council chamber. Alex was officially recognized as Earth Ambassador to Nexus Prime. The first diplomatic ties between the worlds were established, agreements signed, scientific and cultural exchanges planned. Kira stood with the Nexus dignitaries watching as Alex took his oath of office. He looked different in his Earth uniform with its emblems and insignia, yet somehow more familiar to her now than any of her own people. After the ceremony, the Earth ship prepared for departure. Captain Wright and most of her crew would return to Earth, leaving Alex and a small support team to establish the embassy and prepare for the arrival of the full diplomatic mission. Kira was assigned by the High Council to continue as liaison to the Earth embassy, her knowledge of Alex and humans making her the logical choice. She stood with Alex at the landing pad as he said farewell. To his shipmates, "They'll take good care of you," Wright said, clasping his arm in farewell. "But remember, you're representing all of humanity." "Now no pressure then," Alex replied with a smile. The captain turned to Kira. "Keep him out of trouble," she said with a knowing look that made Kira wonder how much the human woman had observed about their interactions. "I will do my best," Kira promised, as the Earth ship lifted off, disappearing into the purple sky. Alex stood watching until it was gone, then turned to Kira with a determined expression. "Well, Ambassador," she said. "What now? Now we build something new," he replied. "Something neither of our worlds has seen before." The Earth Embassy began as a small operation housed in buildings provided by the Nexus government. Alex and his small team worked long hours establishing communications protocols, trade agreements, scientific exchanges. Kira spent most of her time there, helping navigate Nexus bureaucracy, explaining cultural nuances, translating concepts that had no direct equivalence. As weeks passed, she noticed changes in Alex. He seemed more comfortable in his new role, less the lost explorer, more the confident diplomat. His understanding of Nexus society deepened, as did his facility with their language. Yet he remained distinctly human in his approaches to problems, always finding unusual solutions, seeing patterns others missed. One day, as they worked late in the embassy office, Alex looked up from the documents they were reviewing. "We need a break," he announced, standing suddenly. "We have much to complete." Kira protested, "And well, think better after clearing our minds." He countered, "Come on, I want to show you something." Curious, Kira followed him to a room she had not entered before in the embassy. Inside was a device she did not recognize, a curved screen with controls. "What is this?" she asked. "A gift from Earth." Alex explained something I requested specially. "It's called a stellar projector. It can show the night sky from any planet in our database, including Earth." He activated the device, the room darkened, and suddenly they were surrounded by stars, a different pattern than the night sky of Nexus Prime. "This is what I would see standing outside my home on Earth," Alex said, his voice soft. "These are the stars I grew up with." Kira looked around in wonder, seeing his homeworld through his eyes. "These are beautiful." She said, "Which one is your sun?" He pointed to a bright star. "That's Sol, our sun. It's just one star among billions, but it's home." Kira watched as he adjusted the controls, showing her constellations from Earth, explaining the ancient stories humans had created about the patterns in their sky. She found herself standing closer to him than necessary, listening to his voice rather than his words. "So strange," she said finally, "that our peoples independently created stories about the stars. Humans have always looked up and wondered." Alex replied, "Imagining what might be out there, who might be looking back, like your people did in their legends. About humans." "Exactly," he said, turning to face her. "Sometimes the stories we tell become real." Something changed in that moment. As they stood surrounded by the stars of his world, Kira felt the last of her scientific detachment fade, replaced by something deeper. Something she finally recognized. "I have completed my study of humans," she said quietly. Oh, Alex raised an eyebrow. "And what conclusions have you reached?" "That the legends were incomplete," she replied. "Humans are adaptable. Yes, creative problem solvers. Yes, but there's more." "What more?" Kira took a step closer. "Humans have an unusual capacity to form connections with beings unlike themselves, to bridge differences, to find common ground." "Just humans?" Alex asked softly. "Perhaps not," she admitted. "Perhaps that capacity exists in other species when given the opportunity." They stood silent for a moment, the stars of Earth surrounding them. Two beings from different worlds, different histories, different biologies. Yet in that moment, those differences seemed less important than what they shared. Alex reached out, slowly taking her 6-fingered hand in his. "5-fingered one in my culture," he said. "This is how we begin what something new. Something neither of our worlds has seen before." 6 months passed quickly as the relationship between Earth and Nexus Prime developed. The small embassy grew as more human diplomats, scientists, and cultural attachés arrived. Formal trade agreements were signed. Educational exchanges began. Technologies were cautiously shared. Kira remained the official liaison between the Nexus government and the Earth Embassy. Though her role had expanded far beyond her original assignment, she now led a team of Nexus officials, each specializing in different aspects of the emerging relationship with Earth. Through it all, her connection with Alex deepened, moving beyond professional collaboration, beyond friendship, into something neither of their cultures had quite the right words for. They came from different worlds, different biologies, different histories, yet found in each other a shared vision of what might be possible. One afternoon, as they reviewed plans for the first Nexus delegation to visit Earth, Alex received an urgent message from the High Council. "Trouble?" Kira asked. Seeing his expression change, "Potentially," he replied. The council requests our immediate presence. They hurried to the council tower, finding Alara and the other council members gathered around displays showing a distant region of the Nexus. Systeme Ambassador Alara nodded to Alex as they entered. We have detected multiple unknown vessels entering our system. They do not match Earth configurations and have not responded to communications. Kira felt a chill, remembering the raiders who had attacked the settlement months ago, but these vessels were much larger, more numerous. Not raiders, then she said. Unlikely, Alara agreed. These appear to be military-class vessels. We fear they may represent the Draconian Empire. Alex looked at the displays, studying the ship configurations. The Draconian Empire. He asked a neighboring power, Alara explained historically. Aggressive expansionistic, they have claimed territory from several nearby systems, but have kept their distance from Nexus Prime until now. Perhaps your presence has drawn their attention. Our intel suggests they view any expansion of Earth influence as a threat. Alex said they have encountered Earth ships in other sectors, always with hostility. The council chamber grew quiet as the implications became clear. The relationship between Earth and Nexus Prime potentially threatened by a third power, one that viewed their cooperation as a challenger. Defensive capabilities are limited. Alara admitted we have maintained peace through diplomacy and our relative isolation for generations, so long until they reach Nexus Prime. Alex asked. 3 days at current speeds. Alex studied the tactical displays longer, his expression grave. I need to contact Earth Command. Immediately request. Additional ships? Will they come? Kira asked. Yes. He said without hesitation. Earth protects its allies, but they may not arrive in time. We need to prepare other options for the next 3 days. Alex, Kira, and both human and Nexus officials worked non-stop, preparing defenses, diplomatic messages, and evacuation plans. The few Earth ships in the system were positioned strategically. Communication systems hardened civilian centers, protected. Kira noticed how Alex worked tirelessly coordinating between Earth and Nexus Prime forces, suggesting defensive tactics never before considered by her people, adapting Nexus technology in innovative ways to strengthen their position. On the third day, the Draconian fleet entered orbit around Nexus Prime 12. Massive warships dwarfing anything the Nexus or the small Earth contingent could field. A communication arrived from the lead ship, demanding that all Earth personnel leave Nexus Prime immediately, claiming that human expansion threatened Draconian security interests. The High Council convened an emergency session with Alex and the Earth diplomats present. They seek to isolate us from each other. Alara said they fear our alliance. Their timing suggests they hope to arrive before stronger Earth forces could be deployed. Alex added they want to intimidate us into breaking ties. We cannot fight such a force. Kira said, looking at the tactical displays. The Draconian fleet outgunned them significantly. Perhaps we don't need to fight, Alex said thoughtfully, looking at information on his datapad. What do you mean? Alara asked. Every species has its cultural foundations, its core values. He explained the Draconians' value, strength, hierarchy, dominance. But they also have a deep tradition of personal honor and ritual combat. Alex outlined a bold plan using his knowledge of Draconian culture to challenge their commander to a formal diplomatic resolution through their own traditions, rather than open conflict. A solution that would appeal to their sense of honor while avoiding war. It's risky. Alara said less risky than open conflict. Alex countered, which we would likely lose. Kira watched him, seeing again the human ability to find unexpected solutions, to see patterns others missed, to create options where none seemed to exist. The council agreed to his plan. A formal message was sent to the Draconian fleet, invoking ancient codes of honor and diplomatic resolution that the Draconians themselves recognized. The response came quickly, surprised, but intrigued. Within hours, a Draconian diplomatic shuttle descended to the surface. Kira stood with Alex and the council as the alien representatives emerged, tall reptilian beings with scaled skin and eyes that revealed both intelligence and caution. Diplomatic proceedings that followed were unlike anything Kira had witnessed. Alex speaking directly to the Draconians in their own formal language patterns, respecting their hierarchical protocols while firmly representing both Earth and Nexus Prime interests. You understand our ways, human, the Draconian commander said, assessing Alex with newfound respect. Few outsiders bother to learn. Understanding precedes cooperation. Alex replied. "We seek neither to threaten your interests, nor to ignore your concerns, but to find a path that respects all our peoples." The negotiations continued for days, intense but increasingly productive. Alex proposed a three-way treaty that would protect draconian security interests, while allowing Earth Nexus Prime relations to continue under specific guidelines. Boundaries were established. Monitoring protocols agreed upon, trade routes defined. When the draconian fleet finally departed, leaving behind only a small observer contingent, as agreed in the treaty, Kira found Alex alone on the observation deck looking up at the stars. "You prevented a war," she said, joining him. "For now," he replied. "Wars often start because we fail to understand each other. I just tried to find common ground." "That's what you do," Kira said, standing beside him. "You build bridges between worlds." Alex turned to her with a tired smile. Bridges are better than barriers. That night, as they walked through the crystal gardens, now familiar territory for them both, Alex stopped by a fountain that captured the light of the twin moon. "Siv been offered a new position," he said. Kira felt a sudden concern. "What position?" "Earth wants to establish a diplomatic corps specifically focused on first contact scenarios. Based on what we've learned here, they want me to help develop protocols, training methodology." "You would leave Nexus Prime," she said. Unable to keep the emotion from her voice, he shook his head. "No, I'd stay here. This would become the training center, the model for how different species can build relationships. We did something unprecedented here, Kira. Something neither humans nor the Nexus thought possible. We created understanding where there could have been fear, trust, where there could have been conflict." Kira felt relief wash through her. "You will stay then if you'll help me," he said. "There is no one who understands both our peoples better than you. No one who has seen firsthand how bridges can be built. I will help." Kira agreed. "Of course." Alex took her hands in his. "There's more I want to ask." Kira waited, heart racing slightly. On Earth, when two people form a deep connection, when they want to build a life together, they often create a formal bond, a partnership. Kira studied his face, seeing the question in his eyes. "We have similar customs on Nexus Prime. Would you consider such a partnership?" Alex asked. "Between us, between our worlds. Something new. Something neither of our peoples has seen before." Kira thought of the journey that had brought them here, from hunter and prey to colleagues to friends to something more, something that transcended the differences between their worlds. "Saya," she said simply. 1 year later, representatives from 20 different worlds gathered in the grand chamber of the newly constructed Interspecies Diplomatic Academy on Nexus Prime, the first institution of its kind dedicated to training diplomats from various species in the art of cross-cultural understanding. Kira and Alex, now formally partnered in both Nexus and Earth traditions, stood together. As the academy was officially opened, Alara gave the opening address, speaking of bridges between worlds of understanding. Across difference of the unexpected ways connection could be found. In the audience sat humans, Nexus Draconians, and representatives of other species, some longtime allies, some former enemies, all gathered with cautious hope for what might be possible. "The legends were true," Alara said, concluding her speech. "Humans change everything they touch, sometimes in ways no one could predict, sometimes for the better. Sometimes they build bridges where others saw only chasms. They find connections where others saw only difference. They imagine what has never existed, and then create it as." The ceremony ended. Kira stood with Alex, looking out at the gathered representatives of so many different worlds. "When I captured you in the forest," she said softly, "I never imagined this outcome." Alex smiled, the human expression she had come to love. "That's the thing about the future," he replied. "It's always beyond imagination until we create it together." As weeks turned into months, Alex became more integrated into Nexus society. The High Council granted him limited freedom to move about the capital city, always with Kira as his guide and guardian. She watched as he interacted with her people, asking questions, learning their ways, offering perspectives they had never considered. A crisis emerged when reports came of a strange disease affecting crops in the agricultural regions. The council scientists were baffled as plants withered and died, threatening food supplies for millions. Kira was not surprised when the council requested Alex's assistance. "The human might see what we cannot." Ilara said when they gathered in the science facility. Kira and Alex traveled to the affected regions with a team of scientists. Alex insisted on seeing the dying crops firsthand. Walking through the fields, touching the soil, examining the irrigation systems, asking questions about changes in weather patterns, farming methods. Anything that might be relevant, he collected. Samples worked in the labs day and night, studied the historical records of Nexus agriculture, as days passed with no solution. Kira began to worry. Even humans had limits. She found him late one night, still in the lab, staring at soil samples under analysis equipment. "You need rest," she said. Alex looked up, his eyes tired but focused. "I'm missing something." He said, "I can feel it. The answer is here somewhere. We just need to look at the problem differently." "Differently?" How? Kira asked. "Every problem has patterns," he explained. "We get stuck because we see the patterns we expect to see, not the ones actually there." He pointed to the data displays. "Sometimes you need to step back, look at everything together, not just the pieces." The next morning, Alex called the science team together. "I think I understand what's happening," he said, showing them new analysis results. "The disease isn't the problem. It's a symptom." He explained that changes in the planet's magnetic field were affecting soil bacteria, crucial to plant health. The bacteria were dying, which allowed the disease to spread. The fields appeared infected, but treating the disease would not solve the underlying issue. "Your people have technology to generate magnetic fields for your cities," he said, pointing to records. "We can modify that technology, create a network of field generators to stabilize the soil bacteria." The scientists were skeptical but desperate enough to try his solution. Within days, prototype generators were placed in test fields. Within weeks, the first treated plants began to recover. "You saved our agriculture," Ilara told Alex when they reported the success to the council. "How did you see what our scientists could note?" "Just looked for connections they might have overlooked," Alex replied. "Sometimes an outsider sees things differently because they don't have the same assumptions." "Your modesty is admirable," Ilara said, "but we recognize the value of your human perspective. The council has decided to offer you citizenship on Nexus Prime if you wish to remain. When your people eventually find you." Alex seemed surprised by the offer. "Thank you," he said. "That is a great honor." As they left the council tower, Kira noticed Alex looking up at the night sky, watching the stars. "Thinking of home?" she asked. "Always," he admitted, "but also thinking about how strange life is. I crashed here by accident, yet found a world that knows of humans through legends. Now I'm helping solve problems and being offered citizenship. The council recognizes your value," Kira said, finding herself standing closer to him than necessary. "It's not just me," he replied, turning to face her. "It's the exchange of ideas that's valuable. Your people have technologies, ideas, philosophies humans have never imagined, and we have our own unique perspectives to share." Something in his expression made Kira feel strangely warm. She had spent months studying him, documenting his human traits, his problem-solving, his adaptability. Yet somewhere along the way, her scientific observation had become something more personal, something she had not expected. The next day, Alex was invited to attend classes at the Nexus Science Academy to share human scientific methods with young students. Kira accompanied him, watching as he engaged with the younglings, their natural curiosity matching his own. He showed them simple experiments demonstrating principles of physics in ways they had never seen before, explaining how humans had discovered similar principles on Earth. The younglings were fascinated, asking endless questions, which Alex answered with patience and enthusiasm. "You are good with younglings," Kira commented as they left the academy. "I enjoy their curiosity." Alex said they ask questions adults have stopped asking, because they think they already know the answers. That evening, as they walked through the crystal gardens, Alex stopped suddenly, looking at a communication device on his wrist. The device had been silent since his arrival on Nexus Prime. "What's wrong?" Kira asked. Seeing his expression change, "It's receiving a signal," he said, showing her the device, a human signal. Kira's heart seemed to skip a beat. She had known this day would come. Eventually, human ships searching for their lost explorer would find Nexus Prime. She had prepared reports for this possibility. Yet now that the moment arrived, she felt unprepared. "How far away are they?" she asked. Keeping her voice steady, hard to tell, Alex replied. Studying the device signal. Is weak. Could be days away. Maybe weeks, but they're coming. They reported the development to the High Council, who immediately began preparations for first contact with Earth vessels, security protocols, diplomatic procedures, information exchanges, all needed to be established. The Council wishes to form positive relations with humans. Ilara told them we will prepare to receive them as honored guests. Kira was assigned to help Alex prepare for the arrival of his people. He seemed both excited and thoughtful as they compiled information about Nexus Prime, its people, customs, technologies that would be shared with the humans. You will return with them, Kira said, finally addressing the question that had been growing in her mind. Alex looked at her, expression unreadable. I don't know, he admitted. I've thought about it every day since I arrived here. Part of me belongs with my people, but part of me has found something valuable here. What have you found? Kira asked, her voice softer than intended. Understanding, he replied, looking directly at her connection. Your world has taught me things about myself, about life, that I never would have learned otherwise. Kira found herself unable to respond. Her scientific objectivity completely abandoned. She had not anticipated how the human would affect her. He had changed from subject to colleague to something she had no word for in her language as days passed. The signal grew stronger. Alex was able to establish limited communication with the approaching ship, identifying it as an Earth vessel called the Horizon, sent to search for him after his disappearance. The High Council increased preparations for first contact. Formal ceremonies were planned. Security measures reviewed, cultural information, prepared. The entire city buzzed with excitement at the prospect of meeting real humans, not just the one who had crashed on their world. Kira continued her duties as Alex's guardian, but something had changed between them, an unspoken tension, a sense of time running out. She found reasons to extend their discussions, to linger in his company. Her scientific reports became less frequent, more personal in tone. The night before the expected arrival of the Earthship, Kira found Alex on the observation deck of the Council tower, looking up at the stars, the location of the approaching ship now visible as a moving point of light. Tomorrow everything changes, he said without turning. Yes, Kira agreed. Standing beside him, our worlds will meet. Alex turned to face her. I've been thinking about what happens after, Kira questioned. After first contact, after our peoples meet, after decisions are made about the future. Kira had been avoiding these thoughts, focusing instead on preparations, on protocols, on anything but the reality that Alex would likely leave with his people. They will expect you to return, she said finally. Probably, he agreed, but I've requested something from my superiors. What request? To remain here as Earth's first ambassador to Nexus Prime. Kira felt a surge of emotion she had not expected. Ambassador. She repeated the word. It makes sense, Alex explained. I already understand your people, your culture. I can help build the relationship between our worlds. The High Council would welcome that, Kira said, carefully, not trusting herself to say more. And what about you? Alex asked. Would you welcome it? Kira looked at him, studying his face. The face that had once seemed so alien, now so familiar. I would, she said simply. They stood in silence for several moments, looking at the stars, at the approaching ship that would change everything, in all the legends about humans. Kira said finally, did they mention how humans form bonds with other species? Some stories speak of it. Alex replied. Humans connecting with beings very different from themselves, finding common ground, understanding. Is it true? Alex smiled, that gentle expression she had come to recognize. Yes, it's true. We seek connections, understanding relationships even across the greatest differences. Kira took a step closer. I have studied you for months, documented your human traits, your problem-solving, your adaptability. But there are things I don't understand. What things? How you changed everything. How you made me see my own world differently. How you became important. That's not a human trait, Alex said softly. That's just life. Connections between beings change us both. The next morning, the city was alive with activity. As final preparations were made for the arrival of the Earthship, Kira, dressed in formal attire as befitted her position, stood with Alex and the High Council in the Grand Landing area, specially prepared for the occasion.